to another room. Correct. So if we have to move a resident, we have to give a 24-hour notice. That's like the requirement. Some families are like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and move them, and we do. But if they're like, we're not going to do that, it's a 24-hour advance notice. And like I said, we don't like moving residents. And kind of who's with who is a little bit strategic. So, or, okay, this person's not happy. Who are they going to work with? Because sometimes you just see the writing on the wall before you even move somebody. A resident has the right to blank communication with anyone of their choosing.
Private.
Correct. So if they have a roommate and they have a phone call and they want it to be a private conversation, we need to set them up with that. We have plenty of areas around here that they can go and have a private conversation. And, you know, that includes us too, not listening in on those conversations. Once again, everything pretty much is pulled right out of this right here. Each resident has the right to blank given they are able. Cindy, it's not B. A is right, so vote.
I didn't read all these.
Every resident has the right to vote given they're able. At election time, I believe 2 people come in and we don't have anything to do with it. We can't persuade their vote either. I think it's a Republican and a Democrat that come in.
I think so, usually.
Yeah, so it's very just whatever the person wants. Okay, next. Everyone's just getting a workout today. 2 residents blank can never, can sometimes, shouldn't engage in an intimate relationship given they are both able to make their own decisions and do not have dementia. Can, it's correct. So they can engage in an intimate relationship if they're both able to cognitively make that decision. If they're not, then that's when we need to step in. Okay? It is blank for staff to have their cell phones in their pocket while working on the floor. It is not acceptable, is correct. There's a nice policy that's hanging in the break room of our cell phone policy. You can't have them in your pockets when you're on the floor. Anything with a camera, you can't have that. Senator Grassley is huge into resident rights, and so it's a very big deal when like pictures are taken or anything like that, and he's trying to put some more like discipline behind that. So that's why it's better not to have your cell phone in your pocket. Okay, next. Good team players. Residents have the right to be treated with blank and blank and have the right to make personal decisions.
A.
Correct. Consideration and respect. So they have the right to be treated kindly, not yelling. Just overall respect. It's simple. Yeah, I know. I had to throw some harder ones in there. It's hard to come up with words, too, like the wrong words. Like, Lori, what's a word for this? So consideration and respect. Once again, right in here. When should abuse be reported to the administrator?
It's immediately.
Correct. So I always say, if you witness abuse, let's do it this way. What would happen if you saw me hit a resident? What would you do first?
Separate you.
Yep. And then what would you do?
Call Jason.
I go to my boss.
Call
You could go to the charge nurse, but you're going to call Jason as well immediately, because then he's going to decide according to the state regs when he has to report that. Some abuse reports are within 2 hours, so that's why we say immediately. Some are within 24. As a standard practice here, we just say call him immediately. Right, Jason?
So what's his number on the phone? You can call him immediately.
What's that?
What's his number on the phone?
It's on the,
cell phone's on the telephone.
yeah, it's on the phone tree in the computer room.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, next up.
Come on, Linda, you know you don't want to.
Brandon's pretty. He's going to get that money. It is a violation of blank to have a resident with food left on their face after a meal.
B.
No.
D.
D is correct. Dignity. So it's a dignity thing. So, and anybody anybody can wipe a resident's face off. Anybody. Doesn't have to be nurses, it doesn't have to be CNAs. Anybody can. Or if someone has something on their mouth or their nose is running, anybody can go grab a Kleenex and wipe that. So it's just their dignity. If I have food, I actually do have food on my hands, but I would want someone to help me too. If a person is in a nursing home, has a special dietary needs that conflict with the dinner, lunch, breakfast being offered, the kitchen blank accommodate their needs. What's that?
I mean, they can offer them something different.
Yep. So we always have to follow diets.
Yes.
So there's Jamie. What kind of diets do you guys have in the kitchen right now? So low salt.
Diabetic. We have no sodium.
So yeah, you just have to.
Ground puree.
Yeah.
Thick liquids.
So we had a resident probably, I don't know, 7 years ago that was had celiac disease. So we had to have a diet specifically for her.
Allergies. We have a peanut allergy, apple, and a strawberry allergy.
People can't have red meat.
Yep. Or even like Catholics during Lent can't have meat on Fridays. So that would be an example of this too, that we have to accommodate their needs.
We looked at a referral that just was keto.
Oh, that one.
So I think we're going to see changes in recommendations or requests.
Yep. There's all sorts of different diets that you
We
hear.
even have keto diets too now.
I wouldn't survive. I like bread too much.
Remember folks like this?
My husband's grandmother can't have any like bread, flour. I mean, she has celiacs. So yeah, and she's in a nursing home. Yep. So, and they're very strict on her diet too. A resident or their appointed representative, like if they can't make their decisions anymore, blank to refuse medications and or further treatment. Has the right. So they have the right. Some residents are just kind of, I'm done. I don't want further treatment for my cancer, or I don't want further treatment for this or that. I don't want medications for that anymore. Sometimes we even look at, towards the end of life, are these medications, are they really that important any longer? Or is it just something that they're going to choke on and it's a bigger risk? What is an acceptable form of affection from staff to a resident or resident's family member? A simple hug for the purpose of reassuring. Kissing, that's kind of going across our boundary line. Texting, once again, you can get yourself in trouble with texting. And then taking pictures with staff cell phone. Once again, we can't do that. We can't even have our phones on the floor when we're doing resident care. So, yeah. Simple hug. All right, I think this is the last question, so don't all run up here at once. Lana and Hannah. It is whose responsibility to ensure that all the needs and rights of all of our residents are being met?
B.
It is everyone's. So this everyone is everyone's. So, like I said, it's all of our responsibility to ensure that these are being met. All these questions were pulled right out of here, with the exception of a few that I added myself. But the main thing, and I say this at admission too, just treating our residents with dignity and respect. They're all adults. I think that's just, in my eyes, that is the most important thing. Everybody wants to be treated with dignity and respect. So, okay. So now